Welcome today. I'm so glad you could join me as we make some really quick, simple Valentine's Day cards that are really going to make an impact on the number of cards you can send out. Today I'm using a Sizzix embossing folder. It's called Vines. I couldn't find it online, but look through your stash. This is a way to use your stash and emboss your cardstock with whatever embossing folders you want to use. I have cut one of the sheets 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then the remaining sheet I'm going to use to cut out my heart. And I will do this for both of the colored cardstocks. Then to add some interest, I'm going to change them up and layer the pink on the red, but I'm going to layer it on the de-embossed side, and then I'm going to lay the red onto the pink embossed side. Now you can change it up and create them all the same way. I wanted to just show you how you quickly cut out your paper. You can quickly adhere these down and pop them up on your embossed sheet of paper and just make cards so quickly. You will be able to send out Valentine's Day cards and spread joy to just not a few people, but many people, because you can do this a lot. Now, I do love that de-embossed look on the embossed look, but I also love that this cardstock is embossed and then the heart is embossed. And then we have this left over where we can use it to make a shaker card. So just pay attention to how you cut your heart out. And I've also used the stitched heart by Fawn. Now, I'm going to make my own background. I'm going to use these 3 shades from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to blend them on the back of the larger piece of cardstock so that I can create my own heart with a blended look. Now, when I did this, I should have blended down further and made the middle smaller. I just wasn't thinking about when I cut out the heart, but I still think it turns out wonderfully. Again, you do you. You could use pink, purple, green, whatever color you want. I wanted to really use reds for Valentine's Day, and I love how these 3 shades are different shades of red that kind of graduate up to each other. You could also just use 2 shades. It's all up to you. I'm also loving my Andith Griffin die cutting machine. It makes lining this up just wonderfully. I love the magnet on it. It also makes cutting out the sentiment so easy. So I'm going to cut this out. Again, it doesn't have as much of the color as I want it, but I do like how it turned out, and I do love the stitching that this gives because we're going to have stitching on our shakers and stitching on our regular card. And I'm going to put that on the de-embossed side and just let the shaded one, do all the work. Now, this is a Lawn Fawn set that we're going to use. And we're going to take out the Happy Valentine's Day. I'll have these linked below. And I'm going to show you a quick way to put your sentiments down. I'll be using Memento black ink, and I am going to stamp this in my MISTI. I have a A2 size piece of cardstock that you would make a card out of, and I am using it to make my sentiments really quickly. So I reposition the sentiment, flip the paper over, and this will allow me, they're so far apart because I want to use this for die cutting. And you can also do this when you have a lot of images that you need to stamp and color that are the same to mass produce cards. So now I have 6 sentiments. And I will put this down again on that Anna Griffith die cutting machine, which I love, and then I can easily line up my favorite things sentiment strip to cut these out. I will use my Barely Art glue and I will put the sentiments down onto the cardstock. I love the one in the middle of the heart, but I'm also going to show you that you can put it at the bottom. It's however you would like to do it. I think that it's nice to be able to have a variety of ways to put the cards together. I'm going to be using these embossable white plastic sheets to make our shaker card. I will be using Barely Art glue again to adhere this down and get our window put onto our shaker card. It's great to be able to cut out one card and then be able to make a shaker. So I like to send shakers to people that have kids if I'm making multiples of cards like this, because the kids always get a kick out of it and it just adds to the fun of the whole family receiving the card. Now, once I have that, I have some little strips, and I have to apologize. I did have a little bit of a non-focus point here, but I have these strips and I'm going to put them all the way around the heart, and that will hold in my shakers. And so you'll just see me put this all the way around and make sure that I get each piece close. Now I will take my Trinity stamp shakers and I'm going to put them into the middle of the card. If you know my channel, I love to use 6x6 paper pads, and I'm going to pull out a sheet of paper and cut it down to the size of an A2 card. It's going to cover the whole back of the shaker, and I will just use my Tim Holtz trimmer to quickly get that put down and cut. So I'm cutting it to 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I love that trimmer because, again, it makes it quick. I am going to get out my Score Buddy and put on my card. I want to make sure I don't drop any of these sequences. And I will use my little static cling, which I should have done first, and then remove all the adhesive. I noticed when removing the adhesive, I needed to remove both pieces all the way around. I had popped this up with this other adhesive because it is the same size, double stacked, and this allows us to have some dimension to allow those shakers to move around in the card. And you'll also need to remove the adhesive around the heart too, because if you don't, when you go to put your card together, all your shaker pieces will come out. And I know this because I did it by accident. So we all make mistakes, but then we can adhere it down, and I just love having that background. It adds some interest that is really subtle and goes along with the cardstock. I'm going to take my saying. It could be put in the middle, at the bottom, at the top. I really like it across the middle of the shaker. I will use my Barely Art glue to adhere that down to the front of the card and softly put that on and hold it in place with my fingers, because I don't want to press down too hard on that acetate. And I can quickly add that to my card by putting Barely Art glue on the back and quickly adding it down to the base of my card using the Score Buddy. I love to line up my cards. I like to make them and then add them to the base of the card if there's going to be a lot of layers. I just find that easy to do, and it just makes it quick. I love the shaker. I love the interest, and I love that there are so many shakers inside that card. So you'll have to tell me which card you really love in this set, and you can continue to make even more shakers with this set. I really loved how this turned out. I love the fact I can make more shakers, more regular cards. Let me know in the comments what you found easy. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. And here's a suggestion from YouTube. Thanks again for stopping by. I appreciate you watching the video. Have a great day.